Hi, this is the Black Bear Prepper again, and we're doing one of my favorite types of videos, of course, a versus video. So what we're going to do is use my favorite stove, which is the Primus Edda Express kit, and then we're going to be comparing it to the Snow Peak gigapower stove. Now, I've weighed both these canisters. They're both brand new. They're the Power Fuel canister, which is their 4-season supposedly mix. They both weigh, we're given a little advantage to the Snow Peak. That one the tank weighs 100 or 381 grams. And the Primus weighs 379 grams. So what we're going to do is after we're done, we're going to go ahead and weigh them real quick and see what they're at. And see where the differences are. Okay, so we're going to do a boil test first. So I'm going to try to, like I said, we're going to try to be somewhat scientific here. We're going to put 2 cups in each. These are the Primus Edda pots, which are my favorite pots out of all the pots I've used. They seem to do the best. Now, what we're doing is not comparing, boil times per se, because boil times are going to vary based on what pot you're using, what fuel you're using, all these, outside temperature, all that kind of thing. What we're really going to try to test here is to see just if one's faster than the other, or if one uses massively more fuel to create a boil time. So we're going to fire them both up. Both of these guys come with an igniter on them. So the gigapower stove is the stove I've used for years and years and years until I got the Edda Express stoves. I've really been a big fan of those since I've got those. So let's fire these bad boys up. So they both fired up with their igniter. Now I'll tell you right now, the burner on the Snow Peak stove kind of tends to boil out the sides, and the Primus stove is a direct up into the thing, so we don't know if that happens. These both have their wind screens that come with the stove sets, so we're going to go ahead and crank them up to full blast. It's going to be pretty loud, and we'll see how long it takes. We're just going to crank them until they won't turn anymore, so we don't get anybody saying I tried to jip you on the time here. Okay. We're going to go ahead and set them both on. Now, my personal opinion of both these stoves is, if you like to cook a little bit more, the Snow Peak is a little better stove because it does spread the flame out a little more. If you're doing mainly water boiling, I go with the Primus, just because they're a little faster. Now the Snow Peak does come with a little case, which is kind of nice. It makes it a little bit more compact. I like the fact that the Primus one kind of all fits in the pot with a full-size canister. So we're at 29 seconds right now. Remember, we're going to go ahead and check them out and see where we're at here in just a second. I'm assuming that, in my opinion, my hypothesis right off the bat is that the Snow Peak is going to win right off the bat, or the Primus is going to win because that direct flame, and as we've seen in some of our other videos on the quiet stove and some of the other caps out there, that tends to do a little better on the direct flame into the bottom of the pan. So let's see here, we're 1 minute. Okay, we're at a rolling boil at 1 minute 19 seconds on the Primus stove. Let me go ahead and turn that one off real quick. And I'll tell you the truth, the other stove is doing a great job. It's barely behind it. So we'll see. Now the other question is how much fuel do they actually use? So that's kind of our next question here. These are 2-cup boil times. So we're getting right around 2 minutes. Now this could be the fact, like I said, we've definitely seen that right at this point, the Snow Peak is a slower stove, but is it more efficient even then? And that's what we found with some of the Jetboil products. Even though they're slower than the Primus, they tend to be as efficient, if not a little more efficient. So we're going to be approaching here at 2.5 minutes. So we're at a rolling boil, probably about 2 minutes 20 seconds. So let's go ahead and turn that guy off real quick. Okay, and let that one cool down. We're going to go ahead and turn off the gas and check the canister here to see what it weighs as far as gram weight. So let's see here. Remember, this canister weighed 379 grams. We're at 369 grams. So it took 10 grams to run that boil. And let's see how hot this one is. This one's a little warmer to the touch, truthfully. But I think we're going to be able to get it off just fine without having to worry about it too much. Now definitely everybody, you should let your stoves cool down, of course. Now this one was 381, so let's see where we're at now. 366. So 366. Just so we do it right. So we have 15 grams. So use an extra 5 grams, and it was about a minute slower. So definitely, I think we have to have the win goes to the Primus stove, which is kind of why I switched over to the Primus stove. Saying that, if you have a Snow Peak stove, is it a bad stove? Nope, I think it's a great stove. I think they've held up very, very well for me. The igniters have probably been my best igniter I've ever had. I've used that stove for that particular stove I've had for 15 years now. And so they go for, you can get them on eBay for right around the $40, $50 range. This has to be a titanium version, so it's going to be closer to this 60 some odd range. $40 to $60 range on up for a brand new one if you want to get a new one. So as always, this is the Black Bear Prepper. Please subscribe, like, and leave comments on the bottom. Tell us what you liked, what you didn't like, and what you want to see on our next videos. So as always, have a great day.